Tampa Bay is like no place else.
Wait, you can't recycle the bag. You have to throw it away.
Proper recycling keeps it that way for everyone. Bags tangle in machinery and can bring sorting efforts to a halt.
No bags.
Trash the bags and keep our recycling program moving forward.
No, Mom, look. No plastic bags.
Do your part to keep our recycling bag-free. Trash the tanglers or return them to participating retailers. For more information, visit tampabayrecycles.org.
These are the jobs you may not see every day, but just know we're working hard to make Hillsborough County a better place to live, work, and play. Subscribe to our YouTube page for more great county-related videos, only on HTV.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the County Public Safety Coordinating Council regular committee meeting for the November 22nd, 2024 date. Ms. Nappy, if we can have a roll call, please.
Ms. Holt,
Here.
Sheriff Cronister,
Present.
Chief Judge Sabella,
Present.
Ms. Lopez, Ms. Obregon,
Present.
Colonel Ura,
Present.
Chief Burkaw.
Deputy Chief Ruth Kate for Chief Burkaw.
Chief Daniel,
Present.
Mr. Bates,
Present.
Mr. Parkinson,
Present.
Mr. Ayers, Councilwoman Henderson, Senator Roussan, Kelly Hammersley,
Present.
Patrick Barentine,
Present.
Amy Ruiz, Mark Proctor,
Here.
Clerk Stewart, Ms. Lewis, Judge Rich,
Present.
Commissioner Cepeda, and Miss Cindy Grant. Chair, we have quorum.
Thank you very much. In your packet are the minutes of our May 17th, 2024 meeting. If you could please review those minutes if you have not done so, and if we can have an appropriate motion.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Proctor, a second by Mr. Bates. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to be made to the minutes prior to voting on the motion to approve? Seeing none, motion to approve the minutes of May 17th, 2024. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, like sign? Okay. All right, thank you. We do not have any old business. Under new business, we're going to kind of deviate a little bit for just a few minutes. Ms. Stewart, I am going to call on you at this time to introduce to the members of the council, Clerk of Court and Comptroller-elect Victor Christ.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Christ is with us today. He is taking over this office on January 7th, I believe, and he is here to participate and join the council.
Okay. Mr. Christ, sir, if you would for a moment, if you would approach, and if you'd like to say a few words to the members of the council and to the audience.
Good morning, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I'd like to thank all of you for your service and the great work that this organization and this council has been doing. And Julie, thank you for your service for all these years and all the wonderful things you've done for our community. And Sheriff, you as well, sir. And Cindy, thank you for your service and the wonderful things that you have done.
Thank you. As a part of today's meeting, what we will be doing is we will be providing an entire copy of the packet to a couple of people that are going to be new members of the council beginning in January. Both of them will be joining January 7th. And so we'll have them get familiarized with the meeting today. We have intentionally invited them so that, unlike sometimes, like for me in the past, I didn't know what this was until I showed up for the very first meeting. So I thought, let's try to, now Mr. Chris knows a little bit more because he was in the legislature and he had his hand in creating things such as this. So the second person that we're going to introduce this morning is Public Defender-elect Lisa McLean. Ms. McLean, if you would approach and introduce yourself.
Good morning, I'm Lisa McLean. I'd just like to say to Ms. Holt, I look forward to continuing the great work that you've done at the office, and I hope to never disappoint you. It was nice to meet you all.
And for a little bit of background, Ms. McLean has served in the capacity as an assistant state attorney, an assistant statewide prosecutor. She worked in our office as an assistant public defender, and then has practiced both state and federal criminal law cases over the last several years. So she is obviously very familiar with the office and the work that we've done. Under new business today, in your packet are the bylaws, and what we're going to ask you to all do, we know that you've read them before, but we're also going to ask Ms. McLean and Mr. Chris to familiarize themselves with the bylaws, because today what I am going to ask for is a motion to waive the bylaws that indicate that we would be making nominations today for officers, for chair and vice chair. Inasmuch as we're going to have two people that are core members from a statutory standpoint of this particular council, I think it would be appropriate to have them participate in the selection of a chair and a vice chair for the future. I have spoken to the sheriff, who is obviously the vice chair and has served alongside with me, and both of us feel that that would be appropriate. So if I could have a motion to waive that part of the bylaws. Okay, thank you. Motion to waive that provision of the bylaws by Ms. Stewart. Is there a second? A second by Mr. Proctor. Any discussion or number one on the motion, or number two for the reasoning for the motion at all? Okay. All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. 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 Anyone opposed? Like sign. And as I indicated, if everyone would just familiarize themselves with the with the bylaws, that would really be grateful. Your bylaws indicate to you who the voluntary members are, who the statutory members are, how designees work, and what the terms of membership are. Maintaining a quorum in this particular situation is really important because, as you will see when you're reading the bylaws, we serve as an advisory council to the Board of County Commission, and quite often we are asked to make recommendations to them. We have had a good number of years where we have been able to maintain the quorum, and so I would ask us to just continue the good work of the Public Safety Coordinating Council in the future. So that being said, we then have in here a proposed calendar for 2025. Ms. Nappy has done a great job of pointing out that one of these dates is Good Friday. And so primarily, some offices are closed on Good Friday. Some people practice Good Friday, obviously, from a religious standpoint. And so rather than just make the unilateral decision ourselves, we wanted to have any input from anyone in terms of the April 18th date. This year coming up, the legislative session will be from March the 3rd through May the 3rd, I believe, are the dates that are in existence. So the only thing that we would try to do is keep that in mind as we set the April date. And my thought was to try and perhaps, if we can, move it up by a week as opposed to delay, because that would be really, really close to the end of the legislative session. But I am asking for your input today. Anyone? Chief?
I think we move it up a week. I agree.
Okay. Right. Ms. Nappy, it sounds like we're going to move this up by a week. Let's hope that we have the facility available. If not, we'll just make some other adjustments, okay? And with that modification, then these will be the dates that the meetings will occur. The full council is what you're seeing here today. The executive committee, again, the bylaws indicate to you who the members of the executive committee are. Obviously, the core members are very involved. We've been very fortunate for many years that our voluntary members quite often attend the executive committee meetings, but it kind of gives you a little bit of leeway of where you attend or don't attend, so that these meetings are not onerous. In other words, they're not so often that they're onerous in any fashion. All meetings would start at 8:30 in the morning unless the new chair were to change that, and they all occur usually in this county center and primarily on the 26th floor. Mr. Parkinson, sir?
Ms. Holt, just as a reminder, we have a presenter from County Healthcare Services that has an obligation at 9 o'clock, and he would like to have the opportunity to present on the opioid trust fund settlement and some other issues that are happening. So if we could move that up directly after this item, he would appreciate it.
You have the microphone. Feel free to introduce your presenter.
Thank you. At our May 17th Public Safety Coordinating Council meeting, a number of individuals, Ms. Holt, court administration, brought up their concern for continuity of our specialty courts, specifically mental health court, veterans treatment court, juvenile mental health court, and our drug courts. A lot of the existing funding was terming out, and we were looking at some opportunities to continue to fund it. Ms. Holt and Ms. Angie Smith from Court Administration subsequently made a presentation to our Healthcare Advisory Board's Behavioral Health Task Force and clearly articulated the unmet need for those specialty courts. In the interim months, we've had some discussions with our Healthcare Services Department. Our prior Healthcare Services Department Director, Gene Early, took a well-deserved retirement last month, and his replacement is here today, Kevin Wagner, who is an outstanding problem solver, and we worked with him on many issues here at this council. And if you recall, he's been taking the lead on the 1800 Orient Road Jail step-down project. So he's here to give us a briefing on the status of the opioid settlement funds and also on some discussions and meetings that we've had with court administration on ways to continue specialty courts. Kevin, if you could take over.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, members of the council. Again, my name is Kevin Wagner. Hi, Cindy, good to see you. I'm the new director of Hillsborough County Healthcare Services. Gene Early retired after 16 years of service, and we thank him for his service and wish him well on his endeavors. So again, as Rob graciously gave me that introduction, I do want to talk about two things today. Really, on my first day as director, 6 hours in, we had a meeting scheduled with the AOC, right? And obviously on your first day, you probably would push those meetings out, but I decided not to because I see the value of the relationship. I see the importance of the relationship. So I went ahead and took that meeting. I thought it was a very informative meeting to talk about the problem-solving court's priorities and the needs with regard to the opioid funding crisis and just in general, right? It was an educational opportunity for myself. So that's the first thing I'm going to talk about today. And then as Rob indicated, our opioid settlement process. Excuse me. Again, with the meeting with the AOC, it was very informative for me to learn about the problem-solving courts, and I have to freely admit there's a lot more that I need to learn, and I look forward to those future conversations. But we briefed the AOC on the status of the opioid settlement funds. We received their priority list of the mental health and the other problem-solving courts, excuse me. And we received data of funding information. The staff went back to Gina Justice at the AOC for additional information, and we received that this week. And I think there's a way we can get there on the mental health court to fund. I think we can get that. I've informed Gina that yesterday, this morning as well. I think we can get there on funding the mental health court in some capacity because there is a indigent trust component or indigent persons component, and I think that is an important need. I think the relationship is important between the entities, the court and the county and healthcare services. And I think from a heart standpoint that these people are in need and need the services, and that's something that we cannot lose in my position. So we're happy to do that. We're happy to move forward with that. I know Rob has indicated to me a time frame limited on the mental health court with regard to the potential funding, but we're happy to move forward with that for the council. So we look forward to those future conversations, probably not next week, but the week after. So there's good thing there. So I'm pleased to do that. With regard to the opioid settlement funds, again, that is such a high need in the community and high question, and in my short time as director, we've received multiple questions on that. So we are going to brief the Board of County Commissioners on December 3rd of the workshop of the previous actions that Hillsborough County have taken on the opioid crisis. And I say previous, before the settlement funds. We've been active as a staff since 2017. Right, we've learned about fentanyl, carfentanil, grade F, all of that time. So there were actions that we took as a county before the settlement funds, but that's to let the board know because we have new and newer members. So we thought the county leadership thought it was fair to do, and we agreed to do that. With regard to the settlement funds, the funding levels, we know anticipated the total is going to be $126.5 million that the county will receive over a 0 to 18-year period. So from a staff perspective, we're planning program 18 years. Some of those payments will be in lump sum, some will be in 10-year, 11, 15-year disbursements, with potentially more to come because the litigation still is not finalized, but we have signed those agreements, we know that. Excuse me. With regard to allocations, the Behavioral Health Task Force was the designated agency or board to identify potential needs in the community, not the sole needs, but potential needs in the community. We are using the first Trump administration model of looking at prevention, education, treatment, and recovery. We have been using those 4 domains since 2017, so we will look at those. The funding allocations of the $126 million, if I remember correctly, recommended is 55% for treatment, 10% and 10% for education and prevention, and recovery had the remaining 25%. I say those numbers because at the end of the day, this is the plan that we are going to present to the BOCC. The BOCC has final say. They can certainly change the allocations and intent. But this is what was presented from the Behavioral Health Task Force to the Healthcare Advisory Board, which is my board, and we will present to the BOCC. As part of that workshop on December 3rd, we will be discussing the RFA, request for application, very much like an RFP process that we will be issuing out to the community. Again, if the BOCC is on board with that process, we hope to, from what staff has told me, get that out on the street in January of 2025. With that being said, January 2025, that second quarter, we would issue the RFAs, get back responses, score it, rank it appropriately, move into the next following quarter through contract negotiations, BOCC contract approvals, and hope to implement. So that's the short, condensed timeline. I can probably take maybe one question before I have to go and brief a couple of county commissioners. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Well, Mr. Wagner, first of all, thank you very much for the presentation. Number 2, thank you for meeting with us on a Friday right before you had to drive about 2 hours to go see your son play ball. But more, and also congratulations for this position. And we really do appreciate the comments that you've made today, because on behalf of those of us that are justice partners as it relates to all of our problem-solving courts, I would tell you that everything that you've said here today makes us feel 100 times better about everything. These courts are some of the most important courts, I think, that exist in the entire state of Florida. I think we really have made a lot of progress. It has tremendously helped not only the system itself, but it has really had a positive impact on the community. And so any efforts that you have made over the last several months and even last few days, we truly appreciate. And that includes, obviously, Ms. Justice, that we know has been providing a lot of information to you. So thank you very much. And we all stand with you. If you need anything from us in order to make a presentation to the board or recommendations to the board, every single one of us will be available, as will, obviously, the new individuals that are joining this council, because they are very cognizantly aware of the work of the problem-solving courts.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and good luck with your next meeting.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Holt, one comment. I also want to recognize Sheriff Cronister, because there was a time period where we did not know if we would have funding to support our key specialty courts going into FY25. And Sheriff Cronister opted to forego his state justice assistance grants for this year so that we continue the program for another year, give us some breathing room, which is very much appreciated. And that allowed us the time to work with healthcare to get this plan in place. So thank you, Sheriff Cronister.
Thank you, Sheriff. We certainly do appreciate that. This has been it's been a great partnership for a lot of years. Would you like to have the other presentation at this time, or can we go back to the?
I think you can go back to your normal agenda. She's presenting virtually.
Sounds good. Okay. All right. Also in your packet, and again, both Ms. McLean and Mr. Chris will be receiving the packet, are the 2025 PSCC subcommittees that are in existence at this particular time. You will see that the committees are in draft form. You will see that Ms. Stewart and myself have been lined as a result of our departure on January the 6th of 2025. It will be for Ms. McLean and for Mr. Chris to look at those particular committees that we have been involved in and express their interest if they want to continue, number one, on the committee, and number two, perhaps in the capacity that we each served. Of course, in particularly, Long-Range Technology Planning Committee is something that Ms. Stewart has chaired. And so that is certainly something that is, I think, of interest to Mr. Chris as a result of the ongoing technology updates and changes that are being made and that Ms. Stewart has put in place that will really benefit all of the justice partners. But I would just ask that each of you review the committees that you're on, and each of you be prepared at the January meeting to give your input on whether or not you would like to continue to serve on these committees or if you would rather have a designee serve in your place. Any questions on the subcommittee memberships? All right, and so at this time, what I want to do, based on the fact that we do have the subcommittee list here, I'm going to ask each of the members to just briefly introduce themselves so that Ms. McLean and Mr. Chris can know who you are and what your interest is, and that way they can put a face to the name when they start looking at these lists. Mr. Proctor, we will start with you, sir.
Sure. So I represent the Chamber of Commerce. When the Public Safety Coordinating Council was originally formed, we had the constitutional officers, the Justice Department, and it was important to include the business community. So that's what I represent, and I think I've been around as long as Nick Bates and you, Julie. And but anyway, I'm glad to help any way I can.
Okay. Ms. Lewis.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yvette Lewis, and I represent the NAACP, and that speaks for itself. Thank you.
And we all know you, Ms. Lewis. And we all thank you for everything that you always bring to the table. Thank you very much. Mr. Bates, sir.
My name is Nick Bates, and I represent the Hillsborough County Neighborhood Watches, who along with the Sheriff's Department have, I believe, done an excellent job all the years I've been around them. And I'm proud to be on this committee. I've seen a lot of things change in this county, and a lot of it is because of what this committee has done with the leadership that we have.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Colonel Ura?
I'm Bob Ura. I'm the Department Commander of the Department of Detention Services, which has both Orient and Falkenberg Road Jail, as well as the responsibility for the security of the courthouse complex, and the building that we're in right now. So I'm also proud to serve as a member of Sheriff Cronister's Executive Command staff.
Ms. Obregon?
Good morning. I'm Deanna Obregon. I'm the CEO of Cove Behavioral Health. We provide substance use and mental health services. We work closely with all of the, all of the different courts, but all the problem-solving courts, and we work closely with the Sheriff's Department and the Tampa Police Department in terms of serving our community.
Ms. Marati?
My name is Renee Marati, and I'm the Chief Assistant at the State Attorney's Office. I'm filling in for Susan Lopez today, who is the State Attorney, and obviously we're here for the State Attorney's Office.
Chief Judge Sabella.
Thank you very much. I'm Chris Sabella, and I am the Chief Judge of the 13th Judicial Circuit, which has currently 68 judges, both county and circuit judges, and soon to have 70 when the governor opens up the Judicial Nominating Commission for 2 open spots that were created by the last legislative session, which will take the 13th Circuit to the 3rd largest circuit in the state of Florida. So very happy for my role and the relationship that we have with all of our partners. I was attending a judges meeting, chief judges meeting with the Chief Justice also of the Supreme Court yesterday, and just discussing different things, and not everyone in the state of Florida has the same relationships that we have in this county with our clerk's office, our sheriff's office, our state attorney, our public defender. So it is an absolute pleasure to have those relationships, and I thank you all very much, and we are here to do whatever we can to serve the citizens of Hillsborough County.
Sheriff Cronister, my most favorite sheriff ever, and so that includes a lot of sheriffs, as you know.
I don't think I should say anything to jeopardize maybe messing that up. Ms. McLean, Mr. Chris, look forward to working with you on this council and obviously beyond that. To every member on this board, it's a pleasure to work with each and every one of you. To see this population growth continue to grow and crime continue to go down is not something that happens by accident. It happens because a lot of passionate individuals take their roles very seriously, and they come with that passion and a vision of how we can make this community safer. There's no problem that we face that we're going to arrest our way out of. We have to get to the root cause of the problem. And Mr. Parkinson, you're certainly at the spear of what we're trying to accomplish when we talk about prevention, diversion, reducing recidivism, and how we can make our community safer. So again, an exciting day. I look forward to officially welcoming both of you at the January meeting. Thank you.
Judge Rich, sir.
I guess that's tough to follow. So, I'm Judge Jeffrey Rich. I'm a county court judge in Hillsborough County, the administrative judge of county criminal. I'm here on behalf of all the county criminal judges, and I've been on this council for, I guess, the last year or so, and have seen the impact that it can have both in the courts and in the community. And thank everyone for their work.
All right, we're going to skip Ms. Stewart for now. Mr. Parkinson.
I'm Rob Parkinson. I'm over the county's criminal justice office and its grants management office. Technically, I work for Bonnie Weiss on our Board of County Commissioners, but I've been told on numerous occasions that I'm also one of Ms. Holt's employees.
That's true.
So I'm waiting for a deferred check to come any day now.
As soon as I get that drop money.
I've had the privilege to work with this group, on this group, for going on 15 years now, and I've worked with individual members of this group for going on 26 years. So it's been a privilege to see the transition as new people have come on board, and the collaborative problem solving that I've seen in the last 15 years is just absolutely incredible. In a prior life, I worked for the state of Florida with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Office. My scope of management went from Pasco down to Charlotte and Lee County, and I can tell you, working with this group is a breath of fresh air because those counties do not have the same partnerships and collegial relationships that we have. So I'm happy to be a part of this group.
Thank you. Chief Deputy Kate.
Good morning. Thank you. Deputy Chief Ruth Kate. I am the Deputy Chief over Operations, which is over all of our patrol districts. I'm here on behalf of Chief Burkall, and I can only echo the same sentiments that have been around the table. We cannot arrest our way out of this problem. Anytime that we can provide diversion or services for members of our community, it's the better option, and the Tampa Police Department is wholly committed to that, so thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hammersley.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Hammersley, and I serve as the Chief Probation Officer, Circuit 13 for the State of Florida Department of Juvenile Justice. I would also like to mention that I also serve as the Chair of the Circuit 13 Juvenile Justice Advisory Board as well. And we do have great communication, collaboration with all of our stakeholders, and I look forward to working with each of you.
Mr. Barrington.
Good morning. My name is Pat Barentine. I'm the Circuit Administrator for the Florida Department of Corrections here in Circuit 13. I'm the Chief Probation Officer for Adult Felony Probation, and look forward to working with both of you.
Go ahead, Chief.
My name is Chris Daniel, Assistant Vice President for Public Safety for USF and Chief of Police for the police departments on the various campuses. As you know, USF is a city within a city and one of the largest employers in the area. A lot of things within the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County run through USF or touch us in some way or shape or form. And in turn, the university puts out a lot to the community. So I hope to continue to carry information back to the university and work collaboratively with this group and with the other members of our local law enforcement and criminal justice.
Go Bulls and get on that stadium. Make sure that's done, okay? Ms. Grant.
Good morning. I'm Cindy Grant. I'm the director of the Hillsborough County Anti-Drug Alliance. And mainly what we do is work in the community to strategize, plan, and implement prevention activities to keep our kids safe and keep our community safe. And we also support the entire continuum of care. So welcome. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you very much. And now we come back to our clerk, Ms. Stewart, who I'm going to ask you to give us an update on the Unified Data Share project that you have going. and also ask you to make any other comments that you feel that are appropriate at this time. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. So I want to give an update, but I also want to make sure that the two new members understand the work that we've been doing. About 2.5 years ago, I came to this council and asked them to support an effort as the federal government was giving out dollars after COVID to help us improve technology across the criminal justice system. We worked really hard to put together an ask to go to the county commission for almost $4.5 million to complete this project and improve what we do across the courts. The system was decades old. The solution of how we share information and keep all the respective agencies up to date. You all know how important it is for us to have current and accurate information as we're making decisions around people who are entering in or exiting our court proceedings. Increasing the security of that solution by using cloud data for sharing services as opposed to each agency using shared credentials in each other's systems and making sure that we maintain that security was important. The modernization and rewrite of the new data share solution allows for significantly more granular and wider range of data to be shared, and this allows for future enhancements to also be made by each agency as they see fit and as they have current available funds. We are almost ready to launch this. Unfortunately, 2 hurricanes have put all of our staffs behind a little bit in working through issues that happened during the hurricane and bringing ourselves back up to speed. But we are looking now at a first week of January launch on this, so we're delayed by about 30 days with the holidays and such. But I will tell you that each of your agencies, we hired a third party out of my agency. We led this work. We hired a third party to manage the development and programming because none of our agencies actually had the resources in-house. And I don't mean dollars, I mean people and brain power to do this work independently. So we contracted with a local here, and we've been asking them to document now for us the process and put together what we call runbook documents so that we have a track of what happened and how we got here. And we're now in a space where we're asking for your agencies. I think we're at end-to-end testing at this point, which is a really good place to be. So I urge each of you who are involved to stay on top of your IT staff and make sure that they are implementing the test plans that are currently being developed so that we can actually launch in January. We are really excited to be able to move forward. We also have and realized after we got to this point that we need support agreements from each agency as well as with the third party so that ongoing support happens. We don't want there to be any breakdown in this communication on this system, and if there is, we want obviously accurate and quick response so that we can get back up and running. So we are in the middle of doing that. The third piece is the go live, which will happen, like I said, in hopefully early January. So I'm really excited that this is about to launch. I know, Ms. Holt, this was a huge baby of yours to launch before you actually left this agency, and we are very proud to have been able to chair it and move it forward. I want to thank all of your agencies and your resources in your IT divisions that have leaned in on this. I know we've had to lean in a little more in some spaces than others due to lack of resources, but that's okay. We managed through that. And I think everybody is in a really good spot, like I said, to move to testing. And I look forward to working with them over the next 35 days to make sure that we lift this off the ground. So this is a one of a kind. I know statewide, there aren't a lot of circuits that have this ability, nor do they upgrade and move into the space in the cloud where we're going to be. So I look forward to seeing how this impacts us in the courts. So thank you very much.
Questions of Ms. Stewart? Mr. Parkinson?
Just one comment, and this is just for our new people who will be coming on to the council. I would also like to thank you, Madam Clerk, for all the work that you did on domestic violence early in your tenure. One of the challenges that Ms. Holt identified about 6 years ago was some of the issues that we were having with DV injunctions. She asked the PSCC to spin off one of our committees to work on the problem. We came up with a solution. We applied for a federal grant. We got the federal grant. All this occurred before you became clerk. Ms. Frank was very involved in it, and then lo and behold, you became clerk, and we're stuck with an action plan that you had to execute, and you did it incredibly well. You didn't have to. You committed to it. You did it incredibly well. We ended up with a system that was much better than we thought that we would have, with much residual opportunities to improve it even further down the line, and that wouldn't have happened with your support, so thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's work that I think that we all can be very proud of. I don't know how much others know about the domestic violence space across this state, but we do things in Hillsborough County that a lot of other counties do not do. The fact that our victims get injunctions via text message, the fact that you don't have to have anything but your name when you greet law enforcement and have an issue, that does not happen statewide, and it certainly doesn't happen in large jurisdictions like this. So we have a lot to be proud of around that work too.
Well, and to add to that, part of that problem solving involved each of our law enforcement partners having the opportunity and capability to fill out injunctions at their district offices, and that didn't exist 6 years ago. So tremendous added value. Thank you.
Ms. Stewart, if you would join me. Did you go get those napkins for me, Jerry? Yeah, I'm just, and this really is hard, because Cindy and I have been working together since she joined the school board. And the work obviously continued when she became the clerk of court, but it really was it all started because we care about kids. And we wanted to make a difference within the school system, and we wanted to make a difference within this area of mental health that we really recognized was a significant problem. And I remember talking to the sheriff, and I remember talking to Chief Albano, and both Chad and Ken were right there with us the whole time, saying we do not want to arrest children that have mental health problems and that are having behavioral problems within the school system, and what can we do to improve that? It took several years to see the fruition of all of our efforts throughout this entire time. And so that's how far back our relationship goes. And what I've always admired about Cindy is she's not going to talk about a problem. She's going to get involved in the problem, and she's going to try to find a solution. She's going to try and find partners. And when you're talking about the criminal justice system, the juvenile justice system, law enforcement, the Hillsborough County school system, when you talk about everything, it just takes a long time to really do things. But there are people here today that are present that have really worked really hard with us to get us to where we got. And I think that, although you love being the public defender, you love being the clerk, what you really love is looking back and knowing that you made a difference in policy changes that will live for a long time and benefit our community. So, on behalf of the Public Defender's Office, as well as the Public Safety Coordinating Council, and Rocky and I have really, as you know, he was very involved in trying to get the advocacy program into the school system and all. We want to thank you tremendously for caring about the issues that were impacting our office tremendously, our community tremendously. And today we want to just leave you with a little memorandum, a little memo, a little commitment, a little something to just say thank you on behalf of our office as well as the Public Safety Coordinating Council. And it's something that you can actually just turn around so that people won't know it was an award. You turn it around and it looks like a pretty piece of art. So, not a clock, And I really want to thank you very much for the personal friendship that you have shown to me. We've had a great run, And I know that our friendship will continue. I love you and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Wow. This is supposed to be about you today and your retirement. Julie's not wrong. We have spent 12 years working really hard with a lot of the agencies. And when we thought we were down and we weren't going to get civil citations passed, things flipped around and the other side came to the table and said, no, we're going to do that. And I remember sitting in that meeting distinctly with you and going, did they just say they were going to do that? So really proud of that work, proud of the mental health space that has been put in the school systems. Julie and I had many conversations about elementary kids who were being put in the back of patrol cars and taken to a Baker Act situation was horrific for us to even imagine. And moving through that, all the domestic violence work that we've done. You have been a supporter. This group, a lot of you on this group have been right next to me. And I'm not prepared to thank all of you, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Parkinson, if you would like to introduce the next presenter.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. Our next presenter is Ms. Karen Barfield from Central Florida Behavioral Health Care Network. She is the community manager for Hillsborough County, and she would like to present an update to the Hillsborough County Behavioral Health Receiving and Transportation Plans. Many of you were on this council when Senate Bill 12 passed, 7, 8 years ago in Tallahassee. And along with that was a requirement that counties develop a centralized receiving and transportation plan for individuals involved in the Baker Act system. This requirement was meant to be the first step in potential future funding through the legislature, and really was the first comprehensive effort to get the justice system, the behavioral health system, and other systems of care to step up and have a consolidated plan on how to handle these individuals in the school district, in the community, in the jail, and those that need to go to the state hospital. This group and many of its members participated in the development of the original plan. I believe now we're on our third revision of that plan. It's required to be updated every 3 years. And Ms. Barfield is here to present on the updates that are being requested based on certain statutory changes and certain operational changes here at the county level. So Ms. Barfield, are you ready?
I am. Thank you, Rob, for the introduction, and good morning, council members. We can go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the history and background. I know Rob did provide some. First, talking about the Behavioral Health Receiving System Plan. That describes how the community shall ensure the provision of the no wrong door model, which is defined in Florida Statute 394. The description includes the organization of our behavioral health receiving system, how it responds to individual needs, and integrates services across various providers. And the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners endorsed the Central Receiving Facility model on March 24, 2017. And the Central Receiving System is identified as a system that consists of a designated Central Receiving Facility in Hillsborough County, that's Grace Point, that serves as a single entry point for persons with mental health, substance use disorders, or co-occurring disorders. The Central Receiving Facility shall be capable of assessment, evaluation, triage, and treatment for stabilization of persons with those conditions. A transportation plan is a formal document that identifies how a county will provide transportation to that designated receiving facility when an involuntary examination is initiated. Each Florida county is responsible for having a transportation plan, identifying how individuals are transported when that involuntary examination is initiated. The transportation also describes the method of transportation to the facility And the plan may assign responsibility for alternative transportation to a participating facility when necessary and agreed to by the facility. And this may include identifying emergency medical transport services or private transport companies as part of the transportation plan. In Hillsborough County, TransCare is our provider of those services. So both plans required a thorough review and update every 3 years. The Behavioral Health Receiving System Plan does not require approval by a governing body, but our Behavioral Health Transportation Plan requires approval by a governing body. We do submit both plans together as they are complementary. So Chapter 65E-5, which is our Florida Administrative Code and Florida Administrative Register Mental Health Act regulation, identifies specific procedures that must be followed when transporting individuals on an involuntary status under the Baker Act. So it's very important that we stay up to date on those changes and incorporate that into our plans, which we have done. And Rob, believe it or not, it was 2016 that Florida Senate Bill 12 required all counties to work with their managing entity to develop that approved countywide transportation plan. And that was actually the year that I joined Central Florida Behavioral Health Network. Each county's transportation plan identifies the county's policies and procedures for transporting individuals under that involuntary status for both the Baker Act and the Marchman Act. Next slide, please. So overview of our review process, and that starts with the Hillsborough Acute Care Committee, who has that oversight. I chair and facilitate that committee. The committee consists of providers of acute care services, behavioral health agencies, law enforcement, and EMS, and the committee serves as a forum to update the members of the system of care, increase our communication and collaboration, and address issues as they arrive in the implementation of the behavioral health receiving system and behavioral health transportation plans. So some of the responsibilities of the Acute Care Committee are to act as a forum for addressing issues as they arise in the implementation of the plans, facilitate a collaborative resolution process between agencies, and assure that the plans are reviewed and approved as required. We also have the responsibility to provide review of that behavioral health receiving system plan to ensure that the provision of the no wrong door model, which is defined in Florida Statute 394, is being executed in our county. It is a standing agenda item. It is always on our agenda, so it's always in the forefront of our mind, so that we're able to discuss concerns, gaps, wins as they occur. We began our comprehensive review and update of both plans in March of 2024. And that review did include the most up-to-date updates to Florida statutes 394 and 397. We did updates to our Baker Act and Marchman Act data. And the Hillsborough County Acute Care Committee approved both plans on the 17th of October, 2024. And I think Jean Early's thank you to me was those plans moved through county legal very quickly, and they gave me the green light to move forward on those plans on the 23rd of October. Next slide, please. So here's just sort of a list of some of the updates that we did do to the Behavioral Health Receiving System Plan, updating providers, the addition of a voluntary admissions for children, the referrals for justice involved persons was updated. That's Rob Parkinson and his staff reviewed that and provided updates. We have a section in both plans on law enforcement agencies' response, and that was updated by both Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and Tampa Police Department. Our mobile response team was updated. The addition of our clubhouse and our therapeutic group home. Our designated receiving facilities was updated. That updated included the addition or the anticipated addition of the Mariposa Women's Hospital in 2025, as well as the addition of Tampa General Hospital's Behavioral Health Hospital. Our central receiving facility section was updated to reflect the addictions receiving facility relocation. As you may recall, ACTS and Grace Point were co-located, and ACTS made a move shortly after our last plan was approved. We also reviewed Appendix 1, which lists out our providers and services within the county, and updates were made and definitions were updated accordingly. Next slide, please. Our updates to the Behavioral Health Transportation Plan are listed out. As mentioned, we did that review of the 2024 Florida statutes, 394 and 397. Those updates to providers, for example, Northside Behavioral Health Center is now moved under Baycare. We updated the involuntary Baker Act exam initiations with the most recent data. That data comes from the Baker Act Florida Mental Health Act fiscal year annual report. Our Marchman Act admissions data was updated. Thank you to ACTS, they provided that. TransCare updated, our mobile response team updated, and we have several attachments in this plan. Attachment A is all of our acute care services that are available. That was updated. Attachment B is our overflow plan that was reviewed and our beds were updated. Attachment C, medical guidelines, the addition of dementia and COVID was added. And our last attachment, attachment D, we have a central receiving system flow chart. There's a lot going on that flow chart if you've had an opportunity to look at it. We updated it and adjusted it to increase clarity when it's looked at. Next slide. Just thank you for the opportunity to be here to present these updates. And I also just want to extend to Ms. Holt, congratulations on your retirement and moving forward in this next chapter in your life. And I wish you the best.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Barfield. And I know Marie will continue to be on speed dial for you and for Mr. Parkinson. So I've spoken to Ms. McLean, and she's going to go ahead and let her keep doing all that work that she's been doing.
Just a couple comments. Again, for those newer folks, we were pretty lucky here in Hillsborough County that we had a pilot central receiving model even before it was statutorily required. But prior to that, going back to the 90s, we had a situation in which the statute basically said that law enforcement had to take somebody to the nearest receiving facility. And very often, those receiving facilities were at capacity and couldn't accept those individuals. So what we ended up with was law enforcement driving around with a person in mental health crisis for hours, going from facility to facility to facility. We had emergency rooms with humans in crisis piled up like cordwood in their emergency room with no appropriate wraparound services while they're waiting to get into an appropriate facility. So the result of this plan is we have a comprehensive system that plans for this and prevents it. And for those of you that live through the dark days, you know how lucky we are to have this plan. And we appreciate Central Florida taking the lead this year and making sure it was updated to address these statutory changes. And we look forward to continued collaboration in addressing any new directives out of Tallahassee. So thank you, Karen, for all the work that you did. Now, do you need something from this council to move forward, Karen?
The process that we followed last update, which was our very first update after that original plan, was that there was an endorsement from the Public Safety Coordinating Council. Then the next steps will be the Behavioral Health Task Force presentation and then the Healthcare Advisory Board.
Rob, you want that through a motion?
That would be helpful to move it forward. And I know our Board of County Commissioners always likes to see something like this vetted by the PSCC first and foremost.
Does anyone have any questions of Ms. Barfield or Mr. Parkinson before we have a motion? And at this time, I'm going to ask that our sheriff be the person who makes this particular motion because he has actually lived through what it is that we have now been able to really address in a much more humane and appropriate manner.
Yes, I would simply ask for this council's motion to approve for this proposal be forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners.
Motion to approve this proposal and all the recommendations and updates that have just previously been discussed by Mr. Parkinson and Ms. Barfield, by Sheriff Chronister, a second by Ms. Obregon. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. And Rob, thank you for continuously educating us and keeping us in the loop on all of these types of good initiatives that exist here. Okay, so we are coming to the conclusion of our meeting, and so I want to start by
Madam Chair, may I interrupt you? It's not your turn yet. This feels good, first time in 33 years.
As long as there's no cuffs, I'm good.
Madam Chair, if I may please address this distinguished council. Let me begin with Cindy Stewart. For the time that we worked together, our partnership, well, your time on the school and your time through the clerk's office has been an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure to call you a partner. It's a privilege to call you a friend. Thank you for your selfless service. Today's an emotional day because it's a bittersweet day. Someone as iconic and legendary as a Julie Holt is leaving, is retiring. She's a trailblazer. She's fearless. And she has the energy of the Energizer Bunny. She could have her own commercial. Julie, your fingerprints on public safety in this community will be felt forever. Everything that you have done, a voice for the voiceless, to help with recidivism, to help with reentry, to help with diversion, to keep people from the criminal justice system. And then people who find themselves in the criminal justice system, how do you make them successful to successfully re-enter society, this community that we're proud to call home, to make sure they don't find themselves back in trouble once again? You have been the trailblazer for all these initiatives. It is only appropriate that when we created, at the Sheriff's Office, when we created our Vocational Trade Center, you know, what we have done with mental health and substance abuse, having the only state-certified drug rehabilitative center and detention facility right here in Hillsborough County. But to see what we've done to provide our own GED courses, our educational programs, our programs such as how to be a better parent, anger management, programs to help them re-enter back into society, automotive technician, welding, forklift operator, hair braiding, carpentry, all the programs that we've created and continue to create. It's only fitting that that center, these two big centers, were named this year the Julianne Holt New Beginnings Centers. That's what you symbolize. You symbolize hope. You symbolize a second chance. It has been an absolute honor of a lifetime to work with you throughout this on behalf of the nearly 4,000 men and women that are the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and in this entire council. Again, your impact on this community will be felt for generations to come. Thank you for everything that you've done. At this time, I know we have a video prepared if someone could play the video.
Congratulations on your retirement. Well deserved. All the decades that you've done for the criminal justice system and giving back to the community, it's time that you take time for yourself. I'll always cherish the times that we've worked together, the committees that we've been on, and I always reflect back on the impact that you made in the criminal justice system. Thank you for all that you've done and enjoy retirement.
This is a critical message coming from Yvette Lewis, president of the NAACP, Hillsborough County branch. For Julie Holt, public defender of the 13th Judicial Circuit, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having the uncomfortable conversations with me. Thank you for answering the call every time I call. Thank you for opening the door when I knock. You're leaving, but I will never forget you. I just want to say, you haven't made my presidency easy. And you're going to be missed, but I will never forget you. Thank you so much for all that you do for this community, for the NAACP, Hillsborough County Branch.
Julianne Holt, for you to be a Lato Falcon, you turned out to be pretty amazing. Congratulations on your retirement.
Hi Julie, it's Cindy. I know that this is supposed to be a short video about your work here in the community and specifically on the Safety Council. So I want to thank you for, one, for your friendship and for your constant support of my work and my efforts in the community as well, but for your strong leadership, your matter-of-fact approach to almost everything that you do, as well as your continued commitment to this community and specifically the youth. I think that we are all going to miss you terribly. I know that you will continue to do great work in this community and stay involved where your passion is, which is with youth and youth that get involved in the justice system. So wishing you nothing but the best and continue to look forward to what you're going to do next.
Julie, you have made an undeniable impact on our justice system and the countless lives that you have served. You are a trailblazer and an inspiration to the women in our legal community. We celebrate your leadership, tenacity, and dedication as the entire state attorney's office wishes you a relaxing retirement. You'll always be the queen to me.
Today, we celebrate an incredible leader and a true friend to our community, Public Defender Julianne Holt. For more than 40 years, Julianne has been a dedicated advocate, offering selfless service to those in need and fighting to ensure fairness and justice for all. Madam Public Defender, your commitment to our community has been an inspiration to us all. You've shown what it means to lead with integrity, compassion, and heart. On behalf of the entire Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, thank you for everything you've done. We wish you all the best in this next chapter. Rest assured, we'll continue the mission and keep working to keep Hillsborough County safe. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Parkinson.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda could not be here due to a conflict in schedule, but both she and the Board of County Commissioners wanted to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Holt for her work in leading the Public Safety Coordinating Council. Specifically, they wanted to recognize her with a Board of County Commissioners commendation. And it reads, for the record, the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to congratulate Julianne Holt on her retirement as Public Defender of the 13th Judicial Circuit after more than 30 years of remarkable service to residents and devotion to the Constitution and law. A Hillsborough County native and graduate of Hillsborough Community College, University of South Florida, and South Texas College of Law, Ms. Holt relied on childhood experience to help shape a career spent zealously defending the rights of the indigent and building stronger communities. After being bused to school outside the comfort of her own community, she became determined to rid communities of divisions. Upon earning her law degree, Ms. Holt started a private practice in Tampa specializing in criminal defense, with cases split equally between paid clientele and pro bono work. She later became a special assistant appointed public defender, work that helped her realize public defenders can greatly impact communities and even establish law due to their vast reach in the court system. Leading the public defender's office was ideal, a calling she realized in '92 when she became the first Hispanic female to win election. Ms. Holt led a criminal defense team of more than 200 employees, including 120 full-time employees, with a caseload of between 40,000 and 45,000 cases annually. I remember back in the day watching your attorneys walking around with their little shopping carts full of files before everything went electronic. You handle a volume like no one else. She established a holistic approach for the criminal and juvenile justice systems, advocated for compassion and empathy, and created a team that helped identify clients' needs and obtain them services. Her many honors include the Hillsborough County Bar Association's James H. Kynes Memorial in the Trenches Award, and she contributed greatly to numerous organizations, including the Hillsborough County Public Safety Coordinating Council. The Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County does hereby commend Public Defender Julianne Holt for a lifetime of service to our community, inside and outside the courtroom, and wishes her the best in the next chapter of her life, awarded this 15th day of November 2024, and signed by all 7 commissioners. So congratulations, Ms. Holt.
At this time, I'll open up to the council if anyone wants to say any other further comments. I remind you of brevity is key.
I'll just very briefly also echo all of the comments. I've known Ms. Holt for a very, very long time, and at our bench bar conference last week, I gave her the Chief Judge's Award, which signifies her important role that she has played in our criminal justice system. We are absolutely going to miss her. We thank her very much, and we appreciate her. Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
Anyone else? Julie, there's 2 people in my life that I've never said no to. It's my wife, Nikki, who joins us today, and you, and it's always been for my betterment. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. Again, this community, this world is a better place because of you. And now I can turn it over to you.
Thank you. Well, I knew this was going to be emotional for me because so many of you have served here with me since we started the council. So everything that everyone has said, I truly appreciate it. Sheriff, what you and the Board of County Commission have said is exactly why I did what I did, why I ran for public defender, why I did criminal defense work, why I've believed in the holistic approach to our criminal justice system and our juvenile justice system. Living through desegregation, living through the busing to a school that was way outside of my comfort zone, all of those things really were a part of what made my goals in life what they were. This has been the best 32 years that anyone could ask for. I've enjoyed every single day, even when there were bad days, and there are bad days, obviously. When Cindy and I talked a long time ago, I told her, I said, it was when I was sitting as a clerk in one of the traffic courtrooms, and I saw the difference between represented individuals and unrepresented individuals and what might happen in court, that really pushed me over the edge and said, hey, I got to go to law school. I've got to do something that will make a difference in people's lives and in the community. And I've been fortunate that I've had that great path. Victor, I actually had asked Cindy in my retirement if I could have a window at the customer service area because I wanted to be able to talk with people, and she said, no, that would be giving legal advice, and that's not our job. But it's just one of those things that when I worked in the clerk's office, that was what started the whole ball rolling. I was on the path to being a CPA and would have never talked to people as a CPA probably other than just to hand them their bill. So I'm so happy that I got diverted. But this particular office has given me the opportunity to make tremendous relationships, create tremendous friendships, people that I know will continue to be in my life even though I won't be the elected public defender. Sometimes it feels like I'm going away. I promise you I won't be going away. Colonel Uri, you're going to hear from me still. And I want to thank the sheriff and thank you for having as one of the last things that that happens between the sheriff's office and my office, you finding the way to allow the 100 lawyers that represent the clients that have been referred to here today, and making the ability of them to visit with our clients and to ease the pains that we have gone through while we move through different systems means the world to those lawyers. And so, as always, I ask, I received, but it's only because of you. It's only because of you, Chad, that you always, always try to make things better for everybody's life. And so I have had the chance to work with every single one of you over the years. I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. Even Yvette, when you call and you want to talk to me at, late at night and say, hey, how could this have happened? It's good because you made me always self-reflect on, yeah, I think I'm doing good, I can do better. And so that has always been my goal. It's always to do better, to get better, to serve better. And I think our office has grown tremendously in 32 years. I know that you've been proud of the progress that we have made and the work we've made and the differences that we have made. I will tell each of you that this is bittersweet for me, but it was the right time. It was the right time for me to leave. It was the right time to make this decision. And there's no ulterior motive in the decision other than it was the right time. And I'm proud of the work we've done. I congratulate my office for everything that they've done. I thank them for the years of supporting me. And Chad, I don't know that I can make it through standing up there next to you, but I said what I said the other day when you were getting the PACE Award. I sincerely, you and Nikki have made such a significant difference, not just in the justice system, but across this entire community. Your ability and Nikki's ability to see a vision for this community, for this state, and for this country, to me, you are the true trailblazers. You are the two people that I can literally say, I know that as I walk away, I'm going to enjoy watching the continued impact that the two of you make. What a tremendous marriage, what a tremendous partnership, what a tremendous ability to make every single person always feel special, and what a tremendous partnership that all of us, when we look at the two of you, you can't help but be happy and smile for you. I've never seen a better partnership. And so Nikki, I know you sacrifice a lot. I'm not so sure that going to turkey dinners and chicken dinners is date night. I hope he does better every once in a while. He maybe takes you someplace else. But I sincerely, I'm not going to be able to do it. Jerry, I'm going to hand you the box and you can give it to the sheriff later, but I can't stand next to you because it's just too, but know that I tremendously love you and Nikki, and I thank you for being the vice chair and making the time to come to meetings, and all the time if I pick up the phone and say, hey, will you come to a meeting, you come. And if I say it's a really important meeting, you really come, and you come prepared. All of us in this room have worked really well together. I'm proud of the work that we have done here and the ability to influence some of the decisions that the Board of County Commission has had to make over the years in some really, really tough times. When Rob was saying that the sheriff had given up some of his grant money, that's been multiple times, and he's done it to assist our office in being able to assist in the problem-solving court. So for me, you and Nikki carry a very special place in my heart. All of you, thank you. Thank you is all I can say. Thank you for everything you've done. Continue to do the good work. And Chief, I know that award you gave me is a coveted award that I'm sure someone in the court system, like under the court administrator, Ms. Justice, was probably hoping that they would get. And so I know I know that, once again, you took a risk on me. So thank you very much. It really means a lot. Thank you, everybody. And unless there is any public comment to be made, thank you for allowing me to end my career in this fashion. But I promise you, I will continue to serve. It just will be in another capacity. And with that being said, we can now adjourn. Thank you all.